Bryce, sometimes in life gives you. I'm gonna start that over. You know, Bryce, sometimes life gives you a podcast that's full of a lot of stupid bullshit that you have to pretend you have to talk about a lot, and sometimes life gives you a podcast. Sometimes the podcast glass is half empty, and sometimes it's half full. And most of the times, it's just overflowing off the counter onto the floor. And my dog is just, you know, he's just drinking all of the excess podcast. Yeah, he comes around. This metaphor is completely. This is a great start. It's already off the rails. Just
love it.
Woo! Welcome back, everybody, to the RageSelect podcast here on RageSelect. I'm Jeff.
Hi, I'm Bryce.
Bryce, how are you doing today?
I'm doing good. It's what day is it? It's Thursday.
It's Thursday.
Oh my goodness, it's Thursday. Maybe that's how I'm doing. I didn't know it was Thursday.
Well, you and I usually record on the weekends when we do stuff, but you know, here we are, late night Thursday nights. I say at 7 p.m. like I'm 60. I'm gonna miss the buffet at the Cracker Barrel at this rate, Bryce.
I know. They're gonna charge me the full price.
That's right. But no, we had there's a whole bunch that happened. We got some very strange live streams, a bunch of really weird news. It's all very crazy, but I think it's all really interesting. But before we get to any of that interesting stuff, what have you been up to, Bryce? Anything cool? Anything good? You done anything? See anything? Smell anything?
Have I talked about Midnight Suns? Have I talked about playing Midnight Suns? I don't think I have.
I don't believe you have.
Goodness, I like this game a lot. I like that game quite a lot. It's I think people, I'm sure you've already talked about it a lot, but I really dig it. I like all of the little ways that they make it feel like you have meaningful input on the way that the game is unfolding. Not necessarily choice, let's say, but there does seem to be a lot of Persona style social connection dynamics that are in play. And the other interesting part of it is you can tell there's like this whole tactical game, the center point of the gameplay, you know, dealing cards and going through all these stages. And then there's all these other things you can do. There's, you know, this little open map that you can walk around in. There's all the chests and upgrades and things. And I just love how unabashed the game is about saying, hey, we need to give you the tutorial for this. If you don't want to do this, you don't need to do this anymore. It's really interesting. And then you've got that means that the mysteries that you do in that open space have to be written a certain way so that they're not a part of the story, because maybe you won't ever get to them. I think it's really a cool little thing, and it feels like a very superhero game more than an XCOM game with Wolverine in it.
Yeah, I was. I think the narrative around Midnight Suns has been like, it is the best game that everybody missed last year. Like, it came out last year, and I started playing it, and I was just like, holy shit, this is great. Like, it's, you know, it's one of those things where nothing it's doing is rewriting the mold, but after so many kind of crappy superhero games, you know, the Avengers game and like Guardians, that was pretty good, but after so many of those, it was like, cool, here's just somebody that was just like, we're just going to do this thing, we're not going to worry about the movies, we're going to put in this card system, we're going to rip off Mass Effect and Persona, and just, you know, we're going to have a bunch of 40-year-olds going to the equivalent of like magical high school. It's like I love the adults versus the kids subplot that happens in there, where like Magic and Nico are like, I don't like Tony Stark, he's an adult, he's drinking Ovaltine. But
they make a good like, it's funny, but also like they do go a long way to make a bit of emotional drama with that. You know, for the kids, you know, they protect that land more, you know, and then the Avengers just kind of swoop in because the problem is bigger than anyone expects, and that tension is real because you have to work with all of them. You choose what members you take on missions and who you spend your friendship time with and what cards you upgrade. So there's it is a bit of a hodgepodge, but also that makes it feel like something really singular.
Yeah.
Really, really its own thing. It's that's the Midnight Suns game. It does so much.
Yeah. I also thought they did a really good job. I've seen some criticism about this, but I don't know that I agree, where I really felt like the God, what is the name of the main character? The Hunter?
Hunter.
Yeah. I really felt like the Hunter felt very much to me like a Midnight Suns circa 2000s magical Marvel character. Like I was reading comics back when they first started some of the Midnight Suns imprint, like when they first brought out Blade and some of that stuff. Obviously, Ghost Rider goes back a million years, but some of those things that started out, and they had a very kind of Marvel's very hit or miss with some of their B-tier characters, and I feel like Hunter very much feels like a B-tier character that was created for like the yearly crossover event. Like if this was in the comics, that this was like, oh, this crypt opens up and here's this special new character that nobody's ever heard of before, but it turns out they're really important and everybody's friends with them and we all get along.
Jeff, I mean, look, man, they made a superhero game where you're customizable, where you and you fit in. You fit in. You have a story. You are a part of the story. The villain is your mother. It's not a spoiler. It's a main driving force of the game.
It's like 5 minutes into the game. Yeah,
it's the and then every hour after. But it's but even that, right? Because you could go. You could detach the player character so much more from the story, and they don't. They really lean into no, this was your mother, but also right now she's just evil incarnate. But why is she that way? How do you stop this? What would happen if you stopped this? Given that you just woke up from a 10,000-year nap, and the last time you were awake, you were battling your mother for the same reason. I think it does a good job of really making emotional tension in a superhero setting, because whatever, the TV shows and the movies are fine, but they don't really hook me very well, and I think it does just feel a little more intimate and a little more real when one character gets upset or you have to make a decision, or I don't know. It's neat.
Yep. Also, my favorite thing that I think they should do in every game is there's a checkbox in that game that just lets it's like every day in the monastery, just you choose, randomize what the hunter is wearing, and I love it because it just makes the like every video game, your character wakes up and they're always wearing, they're like, I'm not in battle clothes, and here it was like I had all these dumb T-shirts and like book club shirts and Stark Industries shirts, and every day I was like, oh, Hunter just woke up and put on the book club shirt today because it was clean.
And not just you, but also all of the other characters.
Yep.
All the other heroes at the whatever
monastery.
At the monastery, you can change their outfits, and you can have them change daily, and you can change their battle outfits and the clothes colors, and wow, I don't know. This actually feels it's inspired.
Well, speaking of inspiring, last week I got inspired and I went to a movie theater, which is not something that I ever do, but
my goodness.
Sunday night I decided that I really, really, really wanted to go see the Demon Slayer Journey to the Swordsmith Village movie. So I bought a ticket, I bought $20 worth of popcorn, and I went and I saw it. Bryce, do you demon slay? Do you slay demons? Are you familiar with the Demon Slayer?
Oh,
not really.
Oh, Neo, no.
Okay.
Oh, Neo, no.
Okay. So the thing is that the last time they had a Demon Slayer movie, it was Mugen Train. And Mugen Train is like at the end of the first season of Demon Slayer, all the little guys that are the main characters, they all run and they get on this train, and it says like to be continued. And then Mugen Train, literally the opening sequence shows them running onto the train, and it picks up right there. And what they did was they took the first... That Mugen Train thing was like a 5 or 6 episode arc, and they basically took it and then smooshed it all together into a 2-hour movie. So unlike a lot of like anime movies that are spin-off movies or they're like side stories, I don't like that because you always have to put like, hey, yeah, this thing happened in Cowboy Bebop and it was actually really important, but you just didn't see it when you were watching the show because it was the movie.
Yeah.
So Mugen Train was like smashed together, the whole arc that starts with them on the train and then ends at the end of that. And then when they went and they released it, they cut it up and they actually added more animation in, so it became like 5 or 6 full 20-minute episodes as opposed to a 2-hour movie.
Nice.
Pretty good. You can still tell when you're watching the movie how like you can feel when this is like an episode break. Like we're definitely be going next week. The Swordsmith Village thing. No, the Swordsmith Village thing is just the last 2 episodes of the Entertainment District arc that came after Mugen Train, and then like 1.5 episodes of the upcoming season, the Journey to the Swordsmith Village. So like that movie starts and it shows the title sequence. It shows the first title sequence from season 1 of Demon Slayer. It shows the Mugen Train title sequence. It shows the Entertainment arc title sequence. And then it cuts in at part 6 of like one of these battles that goes on for like 6 episodes of anime. It just comes in at the end. There's the Hashira, these like super warrior guys, and there's like these 2 demons and the friends, and they're all fucked up and everything's blown up and on fire. And if you didn't know what was going on, like you would have no idea what the fuck was going on, because episode 1 is like killing this demon that's taken an entire season to kill, and then episode 2 is showing this demon's like tragic backstory. Like it's like 15 minutes of tragic backstory for why this guy turned out so fucked up, and then they transition over into the new stuff. And it was like, it was very weird because there was no pretense that this was a movie. This was just going to a theater to watch 3 episodes of Demon Slayer. And like, I liked that because that fight was a banger, and like seeing everything explode on the big screen was cool. I did know everything that led up to that, so it was fine to watch. But it was just such a strange thing that I've never heard before, where it's like, you know, go to the theater to see Succession the movie, and it's just like the last 2 episodes of Succession and then next season's episode 1 of Succession, and you're like, what is this?
So what does that mean the experience was this actually packaged up as a film, or was this like a Fathom thing of like, hey, we're gonna catch you up on, you know, hey, remember the last few episodes, we're gonna do that, and then sneak preview you into the next season? Because I could see that as like a Fathom-y sort of thing. Like we're gonna clip these together, cloud these together, and then and use that as a way to get you to watch. And hey, we'll dangle this first 22-minute episode in front of you. Is it something like that, or were they really putting a spin on this that this wasn't?
The thing is, I'm not entirely sure, because I knew that I knew what this was going to be beforehand. And I mean, when I look at like the poster, like this picture of the poster on Twitter, like this left side of the poster is, if you are a fan of this is the Entertainment District arc stuff over here, and then this is the new stuff over here. So it's like, if you saw this, I mean, I don't know. I guess the thing is that like, maybe it's kind of a caveat emptor thing, where it's like, if you're going to go see an anime movie, you need to know what you're getting into. It's just, this is the first time I think I've bought a ticket to go to a movie theater to see something that was listed as like, you know, Demon Slayer, Kimetsu no Yaiba, to the Swordsmith Village. Like that was the name on the Alamo website. And then I got there and it was 3 episodes of TV. So, I mean, some of the best TV ever, don't get me wrong. Like, I was not dissatisfied with my purchase. It was just kind of weird, and I feel like putting it out there in case anybody's like, I weep for the poor person that was just like, what's that? Let's go see that. That looks cool. And then it's like, what?
Yeah,
So,
I wonder. I wonder if that's, you know, with anime, you know, they'll do like these road show sort of events. And I don't know. I still feel like there's a world where this is a half official movie, right? Like it's not exactly original animation in the way that you described, like with the previous movie. But
see, there's nothing. I mean, like here I'm on the website. like this is just a synopsis of like what has happened in the show. Like everything that I'm reading here, with every mission they go stronger. Along with one of the members, they embark to the entertainment district. Okay, who as the fierce spirit. See, all this is describing is like the 2 episodes that are the end of the entertainment district, and I could see like taking a big chunk of that arc and like squeezing it into a movie, and cutting out everything that you didn't need to just have a bunch of bombastic action. But it just seems really weird to me. But maybe, I don't know. I don't go to the movies very often, so maybe this is very well known to anybody that's going to the movies, but I just felt like I would put it out there as like, hey, be careful if you decide you want to do this, because this isn't just like a 2-hour movie. It's 110 minutes that is 3 episodes split apart. So
yeah. Oh, in fact, like I'm looking at IMDb, and one of the things here is it says, despite Crunchyroll's attempts to make it clear this was meant to be a season premiere and nothing more, many fans were left aware the film was merely a compilation and not an actual movie like the Mugen Train film.
Ah, okay. All right. Well,
so
there you go.
I think it's a matter of mixed expectations, and it's their fault for screwing that up.
Yep.
Like you shouldn't be confused like this. You shouldn't. This is not your fault.
Demon Slayer still rules, though. Everybody should watch Demon Slayer. It took me a long time to watch it, and it rules all. So, speaking of movies, we got the shortest Nintendo Direct I've ever seen at 6 minutes and 52 seconds today.
Jeff, this is a video game podcast. What the heck?
This, oh my goodness, it's the Super Mario Brothers movie. It's the last trailer. We got this was some very weird. Did you watch this, Bryce?
I skipped through this because of everything you're about to say.
Yeah, Shigeru Miyamoto is here to explain to us that March 10th is Mario Day and explain why March 10th is Mario Day. The director, or what? This was this guy like the DreamWorks Illumination guy is here to tell us how awesome the movie is. We've got all of the cast joking around about how it's Mario Day, and then Chris Pratt says it's also Luigi because he's a Mario brother, and yeah,
it's me, I'm Mario.
And then it was very weird. Like everybody's standing around in front of white screens making kind of half-assed jokes. Real big. When they do the real canned interviews at like a film premiere,
a junket.
Yeah.
Press junket.
Yes. And then they show the trailer, and I still think this movie looks really good. I don't know. I'm relatively excited for this. I don't know that there was a whole lot here. I mean, there was obviously a whole lot that we hadn't seen. I was interested to see if there was one of the little Starbit guys from Super Mario Galaxy. And there was a lot kind of towards the end with the Rainbow Road, and I did like this one sequence that showed Mario and Donkey Kong running as kind of like a side scroller. I feel like I like the fact that they seem to be leaning into a lot of the game tropes. We saw that kind of training level that was set up like a Mario level, and this kind of camera shot that's set up like a level in the game. I don't know.
Yeah. I think, like, to be honest, I don't know. I feel like I've seen a few of these trailers. I'm not. We cover a lot of trailers on Cord Killers, and they usually roll off my back. So watching this, like, it looks cool. There's a lot of cool clips in it. There's new moments we haven't seen before. But I feel like I have a pretty good idea of what this movie's going to look like.
Yep.
Which is to say that I think it's going to be good, and I don't. I wouldn't have needed 6 minutes beforehand to see 2-minute trailer. I don't know who that's for. My only question is, like, I don't know how I don't know if that celebrity element is if that is appealing. Is that working? Maybe, I guess so. It's getting him on Jimmy Fallon.
I guess. I mean, I personally don't care. I've never really been interested, even as far back as I can remember. I've never been interested in like, oh, we're going to interview the star of, the new James Bond movie. And I'm like, I don't care what he has to say. I mean, like, I want to know whether the movie's any good. And no actor is going to come out and be like, don't go see this movie. It sucks. I hated doing it.
Right.
So, yeah, I don't know. I think it looks pretty good, though. Yeah, I feel like the internet has been really cynical about this movie, and I'm personally just remember a time, but being an old elder statesman of the internet and video games in general, I remember a time when the Super Mario Brothers movie was Bob Hoskins and John Leguizamo in a nightmare world, and at least this has a Rainbow Road and a Bowser Castle, and like, sure, the voice may not be the greatest one, but Donkey Kong's throwing fireballs, and it's not Bob Hoskins dancing with Big Bertha in like a weird sex club, so...
I do think that there's, gosh, this is so weird because there's a not insignificant chance that this becomes the biggest movie in the history of the world for some reason. But there is something weird of like, oh yeah, a Nintendo Direct with the trailer for the movie. Oh. That's what a Nintendo Direct is now.
Yeah. Well, I mean, normally they're just nothing but trailers. It's just they were like, we're going to focus on the Mario Brothers movie. And it was like, no, that needed to be like at the end of the last Nintendo Direct.
Right.
But Bryce, hold on, because Shigeru Miyamoto also said that they made like replicas of Mario's boots, and they're going to be on display in New York at the premiere of the Mario movie. Like, they made Mario's boots in real life, and you can look at them in the real world. That's worth 7 minutes of your time, isn't it? Come on, you want to look at Mario's shoes, don't you?
It's
I don't know what that is.
Super Mario Brothers movie Direct.
Like,
it's the whole reason we're here, folks. We're talking about this movie. Go buy it. Go get a ticket.
Yeah, not that like
shoes, boots. Okay,
not that you can buy them or you can wear them or like we're giving away 40 pairs. It's just we made real life replicas of leather shoes that fit on a fictional plumber's feet, and you too.
He's not even known for his shoes. It's not even like it's fucking Sonic the Hedgehog. He's not known for his shoes, Jeff.
Make his hat, make his gloves, make his mustache.
Overalls. There's the mustache.
Yeah, I don't.
Super Mario.
I don't know. This is the second weirdest. This is the second weirdest video games in real life thing that I have for this podcast this week. This is number 2.
Oh,
number 1 comes way later, but yeah. Anyway,
okay.
Super Mario Brothers.
If it's about this fucking Double Down I ate earlier today,
no
better. Okay.
Did you eat that to get into that? It might be about that Double Down. Why did you get a Double Down? It might be, well, Bryce.
I got it because of that news story, but not for the thing that news story was. I was organically marketed to, Jeff.
You didn't want to pay $60 to get into the beta. That's what happened.
No, I mean the Colonel got me, Jeff, not the other people. The Colonel got me.
KFC.
I needed the chicken, buddy. I needed that.
Wait, you're telling me that KFC actually convinced you to go to their restaurant and buy their chicken?
Jeff, I'm sorry if you did not understand from the syntax of how I said this before, but the KFC Double Down is fucking back. It's back.
Okay. All right.
It's back.
All right. I wish you the best of luck. They burned me with the Cheetos one, and they burned me with the Impossible Chicken Nuggets. No more. I'm not going back to that fucking place. Like, no more.
I know one truth, and it's double, and it's one truth of two. One is two.
We also had a Capcom thing, a Capcom Spotlight that happened today around the same time as that. I mean, actually, it was after that. So this is a kind of a vanilla thing. Like, there's nothing crazy going on here. We're gonna go through it. I mean, real fast. Mega Man Battle Network Legacy Collection, which is all, I didn't know, 10 of the Mega Man Battle games, but that's like, it looks like at a certain point they started doing like Pokemon Blue, Pokemon Red versions.
Yeah.
But they're all there. They're going to be released. They said they're going to be released on April 14th, so just in time for my birthday. Huzzah. I never played the Battle Network games, and every time they put out a collection like this, and I've never even started, like they put one out for the Mega Man Zero collection or whatever, and it's just like, this is 10 fucking video games. Like I don't know what to do with that.
A lot.
Like
It's gotta be like a spray and pray situation, right? They already made a bunch of these games. They know that all of these games have collectively the cult energy of one like cult game. So if somewhere out there you want one of these 10 versions of these 6 games, that's got to be it, right? Like and also they're like they're GBA games, so they fucking emulate them, throw them all in a disc, fucking doesn't matter.
Yep.
Right.
And they've also, I mean, they have gone at least back in, and they've added, there was like some of that had the support for that card reader, so they have all the cards are in there as like digital versions. They talked about how some of them have Buster Max mode, which basically is just like you just make it your shots do like 1 billion points of damage in case you just want to like run through the shit. Which it's fine. You know, the only thing that I was thinking about. Okay, so Bryce, can we take like a quick 5-minute jaunt into controversial territories, real fast?
Break it down.
Okay, so everybody on the internet. Okay, so let me tell you what made me think about this. I looked at the actual footage of this old GBA game, and it seems like what they're doing is that thing where it's a sprite, but they've like rounded it, like they've done that weird thing where it's like no longer hard edges, it's kind of like rounded. Do you know what I'm talking about? Where it's not like sharp.
Yeah.
They've kind of tried to blur it together to make it look like a little bit more like a drawing and a little bit less like a sprite.
Sure.
So I was thinking, you know, everybody right now is all pissed off about AI art and how it's putting all the artists out of business and all that stuff. I have feelings about that. But, like, can't we get an AI that can take these sprites and just draw them? Like, I don't need it to look at anybody else's art. I don't need it to, like, look at Vampire Hunter D Bloodlust. I just need it to look at the sprite and then understand, like, oh, if I was going to draw this with lines, they would kind of be here and here and here, so that we could basically get, like, a remaster but you let the computer just redraw all the sprites instead of putting this ugly-ass, roundy, blurry, smeary filter all over them. What do you think about that?
I wonder how much of it comes down to the technical side of it, how the sprites in the game are arranged and set up. I feel like I remember seeing, maybe it was last year when a lot of this was being done with the GeForce cards, but someone had done this with Doom. I think it was Doom, where they had taken the sprites and run them through one of the machine learning uppresers, mm-hmm. and you would kind of end up getting all this realistic detail on the Doom sprites. I have to imagine you can do that, but I wonder if it's easier for them to do that as a filter on emulation versus going into the code of the game very, very heavily and changing assets.
That's a good point.
The way assets are displayed.
Yeah. As opposed to like a render filter on the emulator that they're using on the release. Okay. That makes sense. Anyway, if you're into Battle Network, it seems like this is a good version of this. They're putting it out in two releases, I think. So like 5 and 5, or I think it's like 1, 2, 3, 3, and then 4, 4, 5, 5, 6, 6. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I'd be willing to bet, from what I know about the way Capcom has released this stuff, that they're probably going to be $20 a piece, and then, like, you know, there'll be a pack for 40 or whatever. Maybe 25 a piece and 40 for both if you buy them as a pack. But, you know, I mean, that's fine. Let's see. Oh, also they're bringing, I don't know what this is. Mega Man NT Warrior animated series is being re-aired on, like, Capcom's website. I think it's some kind of tie-in Saturday morning cartoon or something. I don't know what it is, but it certainly looks like a weird tie-in Saturday morning cartoon. So, Street Fighter 6.
That must just be some old anime that they've had.
Oh yeah, almost certainly. Street Fighter 6 had a really brief showing. Not a lot here. The big thing was that they've got. I actually wasn't aware of this, but they've got these built-in color commentators now, where they've got. It's kind of like you can turn on these commentators that'll just like do esports commentary over the game automatically. And apparently they've had some voices, and I haven't been keeping up with this, but they just announced a new one, which is this lady, what is her name? Hikaru Takahashi. And I was like, who? And she's just like an actress. She's like a Japanese actress. So I'm sure that it's just like, this is for the Japanese market. People will know who she is, et cetera, et cetera. But
wow.
Yep.
That's cool. I mean, I'm kind. I guess it's surprising that there hadn't been more fighting games with some amount of commentary, either for a player or for a spectator mode. Mm-hmm. I guess shoutcasting is already filling that space with competitive play, but like I saw a video a couple of months ago. Showing off a commentator system for a racing game engine. Mm-hmm. And the commentary was generated by, I think it was like some sort of AI or language model where it would generate a script based on the data that it got from the game, of changing positions and events in the game. Mm-hmm. And then it synthesized voice using one of these voice generators of commentators, and it was doing it on the fly, such that you wouldn't be able to tell that it wasn't. I mean, you can hear the AI-ness of it, but it's
getting closer. It's a lot closer,
and it would do interesting things. Of like when nothing was going on in the race, it would like come up with factoids to talk about. It would say like, and we're here at St. Petersburg, and this is the big dish track. Like this. This is a really cool feature, and I bet we will see more of this.
Almost certainly, yeah, yep. I mean, I think Street Fighter 6 looks great. Like everything I've seen from it, it looks like the system is great. I kind of like the weird like open world thing. I like the weird battle lobbies. I like the monsters that people have made online where they make people with like super, super skinny arms and then like the biggest head in the world. Good monster generator. Let's see. From there, what else? I'm too lazy to go to the cheat sheet. Oh, they announced their Pro-Am. They're doing their Pro Tour Capcom Cup for Street Fighter 6. The first one is going to have $1 million prize. The prize pool for the whole thing is going to be $2 million total. So,
wow.
Yeah. Again, this is really slight. They also had this. Okay, no, there's a 40th anniversary of Capcom, and they're creating a digital theme park online called Capcom Town that apparently is going to be like a website or something that you can go to in June. I have no idea what the fuck this is, but it looks like The Sims or some nonsense. I don't know what that is. And as if Capcom wasn't done, like, just bumming you out. Then we had a commercial for your Capcom ID. You're going to need a Capcom ID to play Resident Evil Reverse, Exoprimal, or Street Fighter 6 because God forbid that you log in with like your Steam ID or your PlayStation Network account. You got to create your own Capcom ID, Bryce. Capcom needs you to create your own ID whose password you will almost certainly lose. And for no reason, because you need an account everywhere.
Everybody needs to watch out, because this is some fucking play online bullshit. And this is what you do before all of your shit crumbles for another decade. Just falling down an eternal staircase, and it all kicks off because you decided you need to have your own ID system. Like, it is still fucked up to log into Final Fantasy XIV today because of all of their like stupid ID things. This is bad. This is dumb. This is not helping anybody. This is bad. I don't like this. I don't like this. Sorry. It's an inconvenience at best.
I still have a Final Fantasy 11 account. I will never be able to log into it because the email address that I used at the time is an account that got shut down on a private server. So there's no way for me to recover my password. And Square Enix is just like, oh, whoop, sorry, guess you're fucked. Like, and it's like, well, wait a minute. I paid you guys like money and a subscription fee, and zip, too bad, you're fucked. The thing I do like about this Capcom ID thing, though, is that they obviously paid some like marketing firm to make them this like
this awful logo, the stupidest, most nothing logo.
Capcom.
This is what I see when I see all of this. This and that town thing you were talking about, Jeff. This is all shit. In 5 years, we're gonna say, what the fuck was that? This was nothing. This this is maybe this is cynicism, and I'm sorry, I guess I'm a cynic. But we're gonna next month, I'm gonna ask you what Capcom Town is, and you're gonna say, Bryce, what the fuck are you talking about? I've never heard of Capcom.
I'm gonna tell you,
Cap Town, the website, and you're gonna go to the website, and it's gonna be the ugliest 404 page you've ever seen.
Bryce.
It will be the most unconfigured 404 page because it's already been updated that many times since then.
Just navigate to teaser.captown.capcom.com. Teaser.captown.capcom.com. See, it's right here. It's in my browser. Look at it. It's coming soon.
Coming soon. June. It's not even fun. Oh, get out of. Go away.
All right. How about something good? Please. Because after that, they showed. Oh no, wait. Sorry. One more, and then we can get to the good stuff. Exoprimal. They showed off Exoprimal. They talked about how they're having they're having a beta for it. Oh no, wait. They actually said something really good about Exoprimal, because I think this game looks like total garbage, but it could be fun to play if you didn't have to pay for it. Well, guess what, baby? It's on Game Pass. It's going to be on Game Pass. So at least that is happening. Bryce, the look on your face tells me that you have not yet encountered Exoprimal, the totally not Dino Crisis game that Capcom is making.
Yeah, they're turn-knocked. They're turn-knocked. That's nothing. Yeah, hey, I don't know. Why is Halo shooting? Why are dinosaurs falling out of the fucking sky? Okay,
so here's let me just tell you. Okay. Let me give you the elevator pitch here, okay?
There's Master Chief and Yoshimitsu and the girl from Horizon.
Yep.
And they're all fighting raptors. Just raptors.
Sure. Yes. Okay. Let me give you the high points. Let me give you the bullet points. Squad based online games as service narrative. Trapped in a time loop, tormented by an AI, forced to wear Anthem suits and fight dinosaurs in teams of 4, where you'll be graded and get loot and upgrades. And it's just like every part of this to me is like, no part of this am I interested in. Like, just make Dino Crisis, okay. You guys. Like, make Dino Crisis.
But Jeff.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Jeff,
Tell me.
Hello, it's me, Mr. Businessman. Here's an idea for a business.
Yep.
You know all those games that we love to make that make us a lot of money that you don't want to play?
Mm-hmm.
Your Destinies and your Warframes and your Warcrafts and your Final Fantasy. Okay. What if it was stupid, though? What if it was mechs and they were shooting fucking dinosaurs?
Uh-huh.
How about that? Is that fucking ironic enough for you, man? Is that Gen X enough for you? You're a Tony Hawk. She got fucking inline skates. You got roller derby shit and fucking T-Rexes. Like, come on, man. You need Nirvana in this too? Come on. Pay up. Pay
up. Last week we talked about, or 2 weeks ago, we talked about that thing they showed, the Suicide Squad kills the Justice League, right? And it really just like hammered home in my brain this thing that we forget about a lot of times. sometimes the video game industry gets it in its head that this is the new big thing that everybody wants, right? This one type of game is the thing that everybody wants. Is it a MOBA? Is it an MMO? Is it a battle royale? Is it a first-person shooter? Whatever it is, the video game industry will be like, this is what people want to play. And the thing is that then everybody starts developing one of those games so that everyone wants to play. And inevitably, somebody has to be the guy that started development 5 years ago, and by the time the game comes out, that fad is over and we don't give a shit about that anymore. And that's what's happening with Suicide Squad Kills the Justice League, and I believe that's what's going to happen with Exoprimal, because this game looks like it would have been something that a lot of people would have played in 2019. No problemo.
Okay.
So
yeah, I think that's fair. I think it's a really fair assessment of it. Yeah.
Yep. They were like, oh, look at all the hype for Anthem. What if it was Anthem, but we used all of our Dino Crisis, and then we put dinosaurs in Anthem, and then but it's like Destiny, and people will play it.
They didn't even make it. They didn't even make a fucking Dino Crisis branded. Come on, they fucking missed it. Did I miss that? Is
Nope.
this a secret? Like they got a redheaded lady in it?
Yep. They put a redheaded lady in it, and it's not Dino Crisis, and she looks kind of like the lady from Dino Crisis.
Okay. How about this though? Okay, Is it better that they didn't fuck up the Dino Crisis name with some fucking cash grab bull crap? Is it better that it's not Dino Crisis?
I mean, Bryce, I'm not a Dino Crisis guy, but I do know what happens in Dino Crisis 3, and after hearing what happens in Dino Crisis 3, I don't believe that you can fuck up Dino Crisis, because it's already fucked up so hard that, like, you'll never... It doesn't matter. Like, if you're cool with the franchise at that point, like, it's all good. Because it's all like in space.
I'm going to Google Dino Crisis 3 on our break. I'm going to do that when we take a break here.
Now what I think would be really cool here is that there is a time loop and this is a bunch of bullshit. It's possible that this could be a secret Dino Crisis game and that they're just not calling it Dino Crisis to, like, get you nerds off the scent, and then, holy shit, it's a new Dino Crisis game. I don't know. Anyway, looks weird.
Have you ever heard of magical thinking, Jeff?
all I have to say is it's on Game Pass, and that's fine because it means I can try this dumb shit without having to spend any American dollars on it. So,
sure.
Okay. July 14th, it's on Game Pass. There's going to be a open beta March 17th through the 19th. There's a bunch of pre-order nonsense. There's a deluxe edition. There's a battle pass, premium tier. Blah 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 blah. Like just all the things. There's that AI I was talking about, the evil computer. They got a Shodan. Let's go back. Let's go back to simple things that people can understand.
Yeah. Show me the dinosaur. Make the dinosaurs fall down.
Okay. Ghost trick.
Oh.
Ghost trick.
Yeah.
Yes.
Hello.
Did you not know that Ghost Trick is getting re-released, Bryce? Yeah.
Okay. Well, they keep putting these games out. That's like telling me like they're putting the Ace Attorney trilogy out again. Like that's what, like, all right, put it on the pile.
Right, but they've been doing nothing but releasing Ace Attorney for like the last 8 years, and I've been like, what about Ghost Trick, you cowards? And they're finally doing it. So June 30th, they're re-releasing Ghost Trick. They showed a little bit more of it. I was very happy to see that it looks like this was like a DS game. And I very much wanted to make sure that it wasn't going to be like a virtual cursor thing. They showed it. They showed the interface where you're kind of, jumping between stuff. They brought on the original director. He talked about how they brought in a new guy to basically do kind of a new version of the soundtrack, but all the original soundtrack stuff is there as well. There's going to be some different, it's all in 4x3 with bars on the side, but they actually have some options for, like, you could put some of the characters standing on the side. You could put Missile, you could put the lady, you could put, this looks like a really solid, as long as it doesn't run like garbage, it looks like a really, really solid version of Ghost Trick. It's got a bunch of art stuff. It's got a bunch of new music stuff. It's got some like little games and stuff. Ghost Trick rules, and I'm so glad this is coming out because I really want to play this game again, and I remember really, really enjoying it the first time I played it. So,
yeah, this is great. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Also, the Shu Takami, the writer and director, I love him. He came out. He's wearing a hoodie with a sweater over it and a jaunty hat, and he looks very He looks like he should be an Ace Attorney.
He looks like he was about ready to get on camera, and a very young member of the design team said, let's give you some drip first. Let's drip you up first, you.
Yeah. So yeah, but it looks great, and I can't wait to play it. And it's coming out in June. A lot of stuff coming out between now and like I feel like usually this is the dead zone, kind of March, like April, May, June, like the early like you got the spillover from holidays into January, February, but you got March, April, May, June. But no, it's like this is one banger after another. Monster Hunter Rise is out on the it came out recently on the Xbox Series X, Series S, Xbox One, PS5, PS4. Like it was on the Switch, it was on Windows. They put it on everything. They basically came out and announced that Sunbreak, the expansion that is already on the PC and the Switch, is coming onto all of those other things on April 28th. I think it's actually really smart. They probably could have released it at the same time, but because you have to be up to max level before you can start playing Sunbreak, like releasing the base game, give people some time to level up, good stuff.
Okay.
Yeah. Nothing really all that new. They're gonna have some kind of direct, title update digital event in April. These things are always really boring. It's always just like
free title update 5 digital event. That's my favorite thing to experience.
Yeah. I'm going to the theater, Bryce. I'm going to watch it in the movie theaters today.
Digital experience event.
Resident Evil time. We got some Resident Evil. Resident Evil started by showing us a trailer for one of those bad CGI Resident Evil movies that they love to make. So there's a new one with Chris and Leon, and it looks like Jill is in there towards the end, and it's in like a prison or something, and it's called Death Island. Like it's got a really bad Resident Evil.
That is a bad name.
Death Island. Wow. Summer 2023.
And they really didn't. They really haven't waited after the end of the live action, that Netflix series that they just did. They're really just going back to the CG train.
Mm-hmm.
I guess if it works, keep printing them.
I don't think it works though. Was it the one with the White House one? Like they had that Netflix series that was all CGI and it was like
oh yeah, there was a Netflix CGI one that was just called Resident Evil or something, or yeah. But these movies, they do a bunch of these movies. They've done a million of these movies.
Yeah. They're all bad. Don't watch them. Do not watch them.
Are they bad?
I've watched 2 or 3.
They're doing them because people like them.
You've seen the scene from the one with the 2 guys shooting at each other, right?
Yeah. Yes. Okay. Okay. You know what? I do remember that now. You're right. Okay, Jeff, I'm starting to believe you.
They're 18 inches apart from each other, shooting hundreds and hundreds of bullets. It's great. And then Resident Evil 4 is right around the corner, so we got another trailer. The big thing, I mean, fucking at this point, like you guys all know Resident Evil 4. The big thing was that there's a demo. They put out a demo at like today. Like by the time this comes out, it'll have been out for a few days. And it's called like what was it called? It was called like the first village or something.
Beta experience digital demonstration play.
Well, okay, so I'll tell you what, chainsaw demo is what it's called.
So never would have gotten that.
Here's the cool thing though. No time limit, and you can play it as many times as you want. Which, like the previous Resident Evils, they've generally a lot of their demos have had like you can play it for an hour and then you stop, you're done, or you can play it once. But if you get to the end of it after the first time, then you're locked out. Like, that's been the way that a lot of the demos have gone. So having that is like, okay. And it's literally just like starting out in the forest up to the point where the bell rings and everybody goes to the church. Like, it's just that first section of RE4. So.
I think companies are afraid of like doing straightforward demos like these because they have to title them and they have to be a thing they always it becomes a SKU in Steam and in the game stores, and then or I don't know. I understand why we don't see many demos or why we see so limited demos, because these companies really want them to be ephemera. They don't want them to really be a part of this game. These games is history, but I don't know. I had demo discs. I had demo discs back in the day. But it's just weird to say like this 20-minute part of the game has no time limit. Okay, cool. You have a demo for your game.
I read an article one time that made a really good point, a really good case for it. That said, like, if a person is already excited for your game, they don't need a demo. And if your demo is bad, you might actually convert excitement into, you might lose a sale with a bad demo. So that most of the time there's really no upside to having a demo, even though I personally think we should have way more demos. That way you can play Exoprimal and be like, oh, this is garbage, I'm not going to buy this. Or, oh, this is surprisingly fun, I am going to buy this. Because, you know.
In a world where we have more access to streaming game options, demos could be easier to make in that sort of trial way, right? Like, hey, I don't know if I want to buy this game. Like on the PlayStation, they give me like 2-hour game demo things for PlayStation Plus, and it's not like anyone coded that. It's just, hey, here's the game.
Yeah,
play it for 2 hours. And if you throw in streaming there, or if you carve it in different ways, you can make a world where people can demo your game relatively quickly at the point of sale and get into the game relatively quickly. But yeah, like you mentioned, Jeff, like it is kind of a known thing. You don't see demos anymore because they hurt sales.
Yep.
They don't particularly help sales very often.
Yep. And then finally, there's a publisher sale on right now for Capcom. It's weird that they put this in their stream like that. Like, oh yeah, things are on sale right now. So there's a bunch of Capcom stuff. I don't even know if it's still going to be on sale by the time this podcast comes out. So.
Kind of genius. Like, hey, this is our big thing. Just as a reminder, we got some discounts. If you, hey, you remember, hey, remember Resident Evil 4? What about Resident Evil 3? Hey, we got you. Hey, what about, like, I don't know. That's fine.
I hate this. Ooh, I don't like that. I don't like the spotlight thing. Anyway, all right, and that was all the streams that we had today. Let's see. Before we take a break, though, we had a few more Resident Evil stories. So we're going to do these Resident Evil stories, and we're going to take a break. And then it's time for, contractually obligated Microsoft and Sony fighting over Activision Blizzard stories. So I haven't found much, Bryce. I don't know if you saw this, but like... So here's the thing. Resident Evil 4 Remake has a $250 collector's edition that has like a Leon statue and all the art books and soundtracks and the steel books and all that stuff. Apparently, GameStop took a bunch of pre-orders for these, and then last week they just, if you went and got it in store, like they were just like, oh, sorry. No. So then they like told the employees that they had to like call the customers who had pre-ordered this, who are like loyal GameStop customers because they spent $250 at a GameStop. Like who the fuck would do that? To buy all of this stuff, and then they had to call them up and be like, sorry, no, it's just been canceled and you're going to be refunded. You're not going to get the collector's edition. And as near as I could tell, I read this article and I couldn't find any like reason. Like it seems like they might have just oversold it, or like it was underproduced or something. Because
there's an update on the bottom of the article here. An internal email at GameStop blamed this is the Kotaku article, blames the pre-order debacle on the inventory software conversion from last fall, stating this situation was one of the last major issues presented by the SAP implementation last year. So yeah, my guess is they oversold how many they had, or had allocated to these stores, or just in general, I guess, if there are people online having their orders canceled too.
Yeah, because a few people online have also talked about having their orders canceled. Hey, no matter what the reasoning is, you have one job, GameStop. You are the middleman between me and the Capcom and the statue of Leon Kennedy. And seriously, if like your business model is already garbage, like you mostly work on consignment and
There's so many places you can get this.
Yes.
You could have got this online. You could have got this at Best Buy. You could pre-order this anywhere. Anyone will take your money for this. How are you possibly I know shit happens with inventory and stores and stuff, but god dang,
well, especially because we're 2 weeks before the game comes out, right? Like if this had happened a couple of months ago and you've sorted it out and you're ready to go, bada bing, bada boom. But the thing is, I have this up here and I think I cut the story a couple weeks back, but GameStop, y'all might not want to. You might want to, if you still have that stock, those stonks, you might want to cash them stonks in because, there's a lot of stories about people being forced to manage the place one person at a time. There's been a lot of weird robbery stuff that's happening because there's only one person there. Where at 8:00 at night, a bunch of guys just fucking come into the store, lock the front door, and go give us all your PlayStations. And what are they going to do? There's one guy there, right? And then a lot of people are. There was a story on Reddit about somebody who was at GameStop and they were just they just locked the door and walked away and they posted on Reddit I quit because I'm working 14-hour shifts at this GameStop and I'm not getting any raises. It doesn't do anything. It's a hell job. And yet I'm the only one scheduled from open to close. So I don't see this ending well, especially because you make a really good point of even if you wanted to get this stuff physically, you didn't want to get it off of Amazon, Best Buy is more reliable at getting in games than GameStop. So, I don't know what to do.
I mean, if you wanted to pre-order a game today, I can't imagine why you would do it at GameStop over Walmart or Best
Target.
Buy. You're paying full freight anyway.
Yeah.
Target, unless these collector's editions are so specific to retailers, but I don't think they are. I think they only make 5 of them because they're awful. But this is an existential problem for GameStop.
Yeah,
they're being attacked on the digital front, on the used game front, on the merchandising front, and it's not ever going to let up. It's never going to be easier for GameStop, and those stores will probably, if I had to guess, those stores, a lot of them, well, in a perfect world, okay, Jeff, if I can just take 60 seconds, in a perfect world, GameStop goes so far out of business that the government has to declare it public domain, and people just have to buy their local store and make it their own thing. And now GameStop, Johnny Appleseed, has seeded America with local game infrastructure for people to I don't because there is a need for a video game place, but there's probably not a super strong need for this major nationwide 5 of them in the same mall network.
Yep. Yeah, and I feel like they tried what they used to be able to get away with the pre-orders and with a lot of the consignment stuff when you had a lot more flipping games because games held their value longer, whereas nowadays everything is on sale within 3 months. It doesn't fucking matter. And then they filled up
releases, all that stuff's gone.
Yep, they filled up their stores then with Funko Pops and merch and bullshit, and that just made me less interested in going to the store. And then for my money, I used to buy physical games from GameStop because I would loan them out to the people that would come over and record with me. And then they closed the one that was closest to my house. And it was oh
no.
Well, guess what? There's a Best Buy that's
and
around
Best
the
Buy
corner.
Does trade-ins.
Yeah.
like even there, like not that I'm saying Best Buy is good, because I'm not, but they're like they got to figure it out, and like I don't know what they do. You know, they tried doing game publishing and fucking Flash games for a while. They tried, and then NFTs,
NFT store,
Cubes, Funko Pops.
Yep.
Like none of these are working, and there's not a room for a GameStop. Maybe.
Yep. Yep. Okay, I'm glad to see that this update happened after I reviewed all these news stories today.
Yeah, I was saying, like, I was looking like, okay, that was today. He's
all right, and then finally, before we take a break,
at the top.
Yeah, exactly. If you are interested in Resident Evil 4 and your pre-order got messed up or whatever, they did release an ARG. I didn't think we did that anymore. There's a website called babyeagleismissing.capcom.captown.com. No, babyeagleismissing.com, which is like a little ARG mini game to find Ashley so you could send Leon out there to get her back. I'm not a big ARG guy myself, but this looks like a pretty cool. It's like secret spy, secure message links, and all kinds of green text on a black background. Boodle boo. So, yeah, yeah. Look at this, grainy.
I'm gonna write a comment. Ooh, forensic.jpg.
Yeah,
Ooh, forensic Jayhawk.
Jayhawk
JPEG.
Jayhawk.jpg.capcom.com. That's it for our beginning part. We had a couple of things, but yeah, we're now going to take a break because moving forward, we have to have Chapter 55 of the frankly batshit insane Activision Blizzard acquisition, and yeah, you're going to want to hear this. Stick around. And Bryce, it's that time again. It's time for Microsoft, Activision, Blizzard, Sony regulator acquisition news. No, it's funny because actually this week we have some juicy deets as opposed to a lot of the regular stuff. So let's get the white bread out of the way here. The first thing to talk about is that Reuters is
double down. You don't have to worry about white bread.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Okay. I was trying to think of a double down reference. I can't do it anymore. My brain is broken. Reuters reported that it looks like the EU is set to okay the deal, the Activision Blizzard deal. So that's citing, just citing sources familiar with the deal. The European Union seemed like they were probably the least contentious because we have the EU, the CMA in Britain, and then the FTC in the United States. And it seemed like both the CMA and the FTC were kind of the hard cases. The EU seemed like they kind of, they wanted some due diligence, but like it wasn't, they weren't exactly like raring at the bit to put the kibosh on the whole thing. So, that's one out of 3 done. So,
I don't think that this gets blocked. Honestly, I mean, yeah, ABK is very big. Yeah, Call of Duty is big. Okay,
we don't.
Not, I know there's more than that, but is there more than that? Because I think that's a tough problem to make into a hurdle.
Yeah. I don't know, possibly. Sony, the thing is that we have these two kind of crazy stories from Sony. So this one is weird. Buckle up, because this is kind of like Twitter drama. So people might not know who Lulu Cheng Messerevi is. This is the lady that is. She's like an Activision lawyer / PR person. She was the one a few weeks back that basically put out this thing being like, I don't know why they're blocking the deal. Look, Sony has a really popular Last of Us television show and it's super popular. And Microsoft doesn't even have a studio division, so I don't know. Like Microsoft's just, we don't barely do anything. We're just a small, simple soup vendor that wants to acquire a phone company. But anyway, part of this was that this week she put out a tweet saying that this was in like a back room, like saying, and this is a thing that I've seen a lot of, that Microsoft has really come to Sony and been like, what kind of deal do you want for Call of Duty? Like, you keep saying that we're going to take Call of Duty off the platform. We'll give you whatever we want. Like, we gave Nintendo like a 10-year deal. We gave GeForce Now. We're going to let all that shit on GeForce Now. Like, whatever you want. All we care about is the phone shit. What even do you want? And apparently in like a closed backdoor meeting, the CEO of Sony said, quote, I don't want a new Call of Duty deal. I just want to block your merger, unquote. Now, this is obviously secondhand information by somebody who's kind of a weird corporate shit poster, but it does kind of seem like Sony might have gotten through all of their normal, sane arguments, and they're into kind of weird territories at this point, because the other story that we have here is that there was a thing that was submitted to the CMA. Sony had this really weird scenario where they talked about how like Xbox might put out like a version of Call of Duty that has bugs and errors that only come out on either the last levels of the game or after updates after the game has already been out, only on the PlayStation platform. Like, the scenario here is that Microsoft would sabotage the PlayStation version of Call of Duty, which, I mean, like, I've never heard of a company doing that. I've never heard of I've seen buggy, like this is buggier on the PlayStation than it is on the Xbox because the architecture, blah, 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 blah. But like the idea that they would intentionally sabotage a release, because I mean, if Microsoft acquires Activision Blizzard and Call of Duty is coming out on PlayStation, they want the money from that.
Their customers.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
And the idea that Sony talks about how it's just like, well, if they do that, then people might move over to the Xbox. And it's like, I don't know how many people there are in the world that are just like, oh man, Call of Duty kind of sucks on the PlayStation. I guess I'll just go buy an Xbox, even though I've been buying PlayStation games for like the last 3 or 4. Most people pick a platform and they stick with it in a lot of ways. So, I mean, I think that this is a really weird scenario to me that, like, I think if you want to put this forth as a scenario, you need to demonstrate like a previous time that this has happened or something that indicates that Microsoft would do this, because it seems to me like that's an interesting scenario, but it's really double-edged, because I think it would be more like make Microsoft look bad than it would drive people to their platform. Like, they can't even put out a PlayStation 5 version of Call of Duty. Like, boy, Call of Duty has really gone downhill. I mean, I don't know. Yeah. Maybe the audience is so like psycho for that franchise that they wouldn't move to something else. But I don't know. What do you think about all this, Bryce? Like,
to me, all of this feels like feels very cold business dealing. Like this is. Like if let's say if you had a lawyer, you would want your lawyer to be the impassionate person who makes all of the arguments you would want, right, for yourself, with knowledge and the precision of even small chance things. So to me, that's what a lot of this reads like, is a lawyer sat down and say, list every fucking possibility that could happen.
Yeah.
If we're talking about, a 10-year contract, that is a good long while. That's also, what, a console generation and a half? We're talking about Call of Duty, which has a longer track record than that. So that's something that can get people squeamish. If you start saying to high-level people, this will be something we don't see for a long time, they're going to say, well, that's going to be a problem that could be a problem later, right? If Xbox says the new Xbox and finally Call of Duty, it's home and it's only with us, and it's been like that's a non-zero possibility, and there has to be someone who says, you pay me to make that, to say that that's a problem.
Yeah.
And that's a lot of what this is.
Also, it should be pointed out just really briefly that Microsoft has done something similar to this. Like, they, in their opening gambit, they threw out like a whole bunch of objections to all of the objections to the merger, and like one of them was this real far-fetched thing about how, like, well, the U.S. Constitution doesn't grant the federal government the oversight in this sort of acquisition according to the strict interpretation of the Seventh Amendment, or blah 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 blah. So and later on they said that, like, they explained that exactly with what you just said, that like the lawyers here just throw it all out, and then they expect all of the dumb stuff to get rejected, and anything that isn't rejected, that's what they pursue, because that's seen as like, this is a credible argument to the board that we are trying to influence one way or the other. So
yeah, it makes for every single one of these headlines,
yeah,
you know, of our games are worse. No, our games are worse. No, you're gonna sabotage it. I mean, the thing is, okay, imagine, all right, a merger gets approved, Call of Duty, whatever it's called, next Call of Duty comes out, and it's on the Xbox, and it's on PlayStation, it's on Switch, and Digital Foundry gets a hold of it and says, oh yeah, well, you know, it's got ray tracing on both of these, but the it is better on the Xbox, and it's good, but it's not as good. You know, like some really marginal difference. Is there going to be someone at Sony or someone at Nintendo, just talking about pure performance, going to say like, well, hey, you're not giving us the best version of this game? No, they're not going to do that. Nobody does that. That's ridiculous. You can't go after your developers like that. That's horrible for developer relations.
Yep.
So, it's tough, but if you make a problem for customers, everyone involved is incentivized to fixing that, and I don't think that changes if Microsoft gets ABK.
Yeah. The other thing, the last part of this story is that there was a lawsuit. Well, sort of. It was like an injunction. So part of, Sony is saying this merger would hurt us. And then Microsoft says, well, the only way that we'll know whether this would hurt you is you need to show us your internal document showing how your business is set up. Like, you can't just say, hey, that would hurt us. You have to prove that. And so they subpoenaed a whole shitload of like internal correspondence, contracts with other studios, exclusivity deals, like other stuff, in order to see, like, in order to basically say, well, prove it. You have to prove it. And Sony apparently came back and they wanted to throw this out and say, well, no, we're not going to turn over. You've requested a huge amount of documentation from us. We are not going to turn that over. Apparently, the FTC's chief administrative judge, D. Michael Chappell, threw out most of those complaints and said, no, if you want to go down this line of argumentation, then you have to provide basically evidence that shows the kind of deals that you're working with in order to demonstrate that those deals would be disrupted by this acquisition. Now, I mean, Sony knows as explicitly what a Call of Duty deal looks like. They've done them multiple times for very long periods. They know exactly how many units they move specifically. Like that data exists, and Sony has it.
whether it becomes public or not, it will be a different thing. Right?
I mean, it is one of those things where, like, this is one of the most simple arguments that I don't feel has been trotted out. Sony has been paying Activision for a number of years to have the betas for Call of Duty come onto the PlayStation first, to have DLC come, in a time-limited way to the PlayStation. And the thing is that the idea that the platform holder can influence this developer to give them preferential treatment over another platform, and it's like, it hasn't never been that way. Like, I know that we're dealing with Call of Duty, and that's a really big heavy hitter in this space, and it really could make a difference. But like, Microsoft used to pay Rockstar for time exclusive Grand Theft Auto DLC. They used to pay Bethesda for time exclusive Fallout 3 DLC. I remember it because you could only buy the Fallout 3 DLC through the Microsoft Store. Like, this isn't the first time that one platform holder has influenced a developer of a large franchise. A Grand Theft Auto, that's a large franchise, to basically, like, give them exclusivity. I mean, I'm sure there are people out there who, when they're making the calculus for which console they want to buy, they look at the fact that, like, I play Call of Duty, I want to be in the beta before anybody else. I'm going to buy a PlayStation because I want to get into that beta sooner. So,
and also because Microsoft has played this exact game with Call of Duty in the past, they know exactly what the number is. They want to put this, because this will be, if the number comes out, if any number comes out, everyone who hates, money hatting exclusivity will shout it, will scream it. They'll put it on poster boards, 800 million, 2 million, like literally any number, and they will hold it against Sony forever. So, again, I think this is a lot of the politicking of this thing, but this is they're gonna find out, and they're gonna try to make it public in some way, because this is such a big deal. But I will say, when it comes to that exclusivity, what does happen, right? Like, are we gonna say that, like, Call of Duty, I guess this gets into what those 10-year deals look like. But does this mean Call of Duty is now feature parity across all of these contract platforms? There's no more timed benefits, generally speaking. Is there a DLC exclusivity, right? Will Microsoft say, hey, it's our thing, we're going to get even this small thing before anybody else? And are we expected to believe that they won't, that they don't want to, that they would never want that?
I mean,
they didn't buy them to level the playing field. They bought it to fucking own Call of Duty.
Then the weird thing is that there's been a lot of internal stuff that has seemed to indicate that, like, and who knows? Everybody could be lying, right? But the older I get, the more I'm like, I don't know. Subterfuge takes a lot of work, and somebody always squeals, and it always all comes out at the end of the day. But, like, Microsoft has continuously said that one of the reasons that they wanted ABK is they wanted it for the K. They wanted to bust into the mobile market, and that they've never been able to do that. And so part of that acquisition, like one of the biggest parts of that acquisition, was that they wanted an inbuilt toehold into the mobile market. And then it kind of makes some amount of sense with some of the stuff that I've seen, with them basically just being like, what do you want from Call of Duty? Like, we'll sign whatever deal you want for however long you want for Call of Duty. We don't give a shit. Like, in fact, I get the impression, when this first was announced, one of my opening things was like, or when Microsoft started doing the studio acquisition, it was one of these things where it's like, okay, so you're Microsoft, right? Like, you have to have done the math at a certain point to say, how much more money are we going to make in Xbox sales if we make Call of Duty exclusive versus selling the most popular game on the entire internet to everyone that we can, and just taking the normal royalties that you take from selling a game. And it's possible that, like, some of that might change, but that it with Call of Duty is on a different league, right? Like, it'd be like if Grand Theft Auto 6 was going to be platform exclusive to PlayStation, and you say, like, well, would Sony make more money selling, locking that to their platform and selling consoles, or would they make more money putting it out everywhere and just bringing in the huge amount of money because everybody wants to buy the new Grand Theft Auto type of thing?
You just connected something for me, which is the mobile side of this, and the fact that Microsoft really does genuinely seem interested in keeping Call of Duty more or less on other platforms. I think it is worth figuring out what the sort of deals that Call of Duty used to get look like in the future. That said, that's probably already in that contract. So, or that's what that is. But what that also, but once you work in the mobile element, right? There are mobile Call of Duty games. I'm sure there will be more. If you are spreading Call of Duty, the most popular fucking game in the world that people will pay for, everywhere, on all of those platforms, those all become funnels into mobile or away from that console, away from that platform. I want to play Call of Duty on the bus. I want to play Call of Duty in the car, whatever. You do it on your phone instead of buying a Switch or buying a PlayStation Vita 2 3G.
3G? I'm not getting that. That's not enough G's.
but it's free G's. The BGs. This is nothing. But making Call of Duty a mobile franchise is already a smart idea, and we're already seeing them do it. And whether or not there are troubles, whatever the progress of that looks like, we're talking about such a long timeline here that any bad part of this can be fixed with enough time.
Yeah.
And so, and then yeah, with console sales, that's a very successful game. Lots of games are not terribly successful. So there becomes a point where I don't know. I see that as the next thing is they keep farting out Call of Duties and Call of Duty remasters on platforms and push people towards mobile, push people to a free-to-play mobile or some sort of Call of Duty ID. Oh, won't you love that with your Call of Duty? Well, no, that's fucking Battle.net. That's fucking Battle.net.
It is.
You're already in it.
Yep.
You're already in it.
Yep. Anyway, speaking of other Microsoft stuff, we got to move on. Starfield got a launch date announcement. Starfield was originally supposed to come out later last year, got pushed off to quote unquote the beginning of this year. And as of this week, it has an official release date of September 6th. It has been pushed back to kind of the second half, the second half of the year, more around the holiday. They put out a fancy new trailer. I actually think Starfield looks pretty good. I mean, it looks like, what everybody's like, oh, it's just Elder Scrolls, but like in space. And I'm like, that's cool. I like Elder Scrolls better when it's not in the Elder Scrolls. So Todd Howard came out to talk about how we really want everybody to play our game and we totally want you to play it and we can't wait, but we want to make sure it's good. I want to make sure it's good too. I mean, Bethesda games are traditionally very, very, very buggy at launch. So if they can make it a little better before it comes out, I would appreciate that. And they're also coming out with a direct for Starfield on June 11th. So, yep.
I don't know what to think. I don't know what to, I don't know what the fuck Starfield is still. I know, granted, I'm not paying a lot of attention, but I was watching this, trying to just look at that freaking little monitor and all of these off-screen monitors to be like, what is this game? Okay, it's just Mass Effect, I guess. Okay.
It's Elder Scrolls. It's Elder Scrolls.
It's Skyrim in space. Okay.
Yeah. Yep.
And there's aliens. Okay, it's space and there's aliens. Okay. Why aren't they showing us more of that? Why is it now this game that was almost about to come out in June? And now is only coming out in September. They're not going to. They shown very detailed portions of this? Maybe I'm behind on this, but it feels like I don't know what this game is at all. Terribly detailed, and we're about to find out a direct about it when it should have come out.
They had a gameplay reveal about 8 months ago where they did show basically a little subsection of walking around an alien planet and getting into a fight and scanning some stuff. And it looks quite a bit like what you just, it's Elder Scrolls in space. It's funny, if you compare it to like the Outer Worlds, right? It looks like a very serious version of the Outer Worlds. So I'm not sure, the thing is that, when they put out Fallout 3 and it was like, oh, this is just Elder Scrolls, but in the post-apocalypse. And then I played 250 hours of Fallout 3. So, like, as long as somebody isn't calling me to keep defending space settlements every 25 minutes, I'm probably going to be fine with this because it looks like I kind of like the aesthetic. Like, it's a slightly harder sci-fi. It's very like desaturated, but I feel like it has some like Expanse DNA in it, and there's some kind of like space pirates, but everything is a little chunkier. I don't know, that trailer that we were looking at before had a lot of like Mass Effect, like mass relay stuff, like alien artifacts spinning around in a space station. But I don't know. I think it looks pretty cool. I like the space flight part of it. And apparently you're going to be doing base building, and then there's going to be space cities that you can go to and a bunch of different planets you can land on. Just a cross between Mass Effect and Skyrim, basically. And I got no problem with that. Like, that seems like a pretty good time for me because I dig space shit. So,
yeah. I'm interested to see what the scale of this actually is, because it they talk about all of these planets and all of these solar systems that are in it, and I want to know what that looks like. Whether that's very procedural, whether that's very building blocky, or if there's a lot of empty space, or I want to know what that looks like, because when I think of Elder Scrolls or Fallout, I think of, yes, a big open world where there's a bunch of stuff, but it's all authored content. It's all designed. Someone wrote it, built it out. Where some of the procedural stuff with like No Man's Sky, you lose some of the concreteness to it. It's there's only so much you can tell in a certain way that you can tell that story, versus when you have a world that is fully authored.
Yeah. I see. You know what?
That's what I'm missing, is that scale and the detail.
What I really hope it is that it's like No Man's Sky, except I've already seen the fact that it's got like pirates and machine guns and space fights and like big alien monsters that are trying to kill you. So what I'm hoping is that there are like areas on these planets that are like the levels in like Fallout or Elder Scrolls. So basically, it's like you have like a section that is a much more like bespoke. Here's your quest line. Yeah. And then in between, you've got a lot of stuff that can be procedurally generated, because the thing is that, like, one of the things that No Man's Sky did over time was start to add in more bespoke story in between the procedural stuff. And I think that you could make a case that that's a good future for large open world. You're going to play this for a gajillion hours games, is you have a lot of stuff where you can just go asteroid mine, and there's some like kind of Radiant quest stuff where pirates jump in, and it's very generic. But then if you go to fucking Demos 12, then the like lady's like, oh, we've been having our explorers have been going missing around the second moon. Can you take your ship up there, Captain, and go find out what's going on? And if that's the case, like, that's what I'm hoping for, because I'm not seeing anything. Like, we're looking at the footage of the previous gameplay reveal. There's nothing that I've seen so far that has any big fat red flags for me. Like, it does just look like Skyrim, Fallout, Mass Effect, like a Bethesda game, but with a lot more space in it. But I don't have a problem with that, as long as they took some notes from what Fallout 4 did and then give you a little bit more. So I don't know.
And I don't even hate the idea of procedural content in a game, whether it's procedural levels, procedural quests, what have you. But I want to see that be more than just a surface level thing. I feel like a lot of the things I have done, I've been playing Atlas, the Battle for Link. Is that it? The Ubisoft Toys to Life game that they made a long time ago.
Oh yeah.
That's a fine little space game, but that you can tell. So all of that is procedurally generated. Starlink, yes, Starlink: The Battle for Atlas. And that's very procedurally generated. Like, and that's fine. That's fine, right? And there are story bits there, but the procedural bits of that game are usually go to the place, wipe out a nest, go to the place,
Right.
wipe out a nest, go to the go in the literally hallway of a dungeon and get a treasure chest. Mm-hmm. Clear out a nest clear out 3 nests really close to each other. It doesn't end up being very deep, where that's makes the space genre feel very spreadsheety, right? Like, what do? Is it all surface level stuff? Is it all trade routes, and then the pirates are attacking, and then the aliens? Like, if you procedurally generate it, I would love to see depth to it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I need to see something other than just clear out a nest and then go back to say you got the nest, or there's got to be another level. I would love to see at least faux storylines or something that propels these through, because if you get that right, if you make these procedural things big and feeling comprehensive, you can really open up a new space of gameplay. Mm-hmm. People like having a game that is tactile. That is, I go on the map and I do the things, and I know how to do the things, and the way you do the things feels good. And sometimes there's story. Like, I think there's plenty of space for that, and there's plenty of space for huge generative open world games. But they can't all be go to the place, clear out the nest, report back.
Yeah.
No,
I agree. I don't know. I'll be interested to see what happens. All right. We're now in speedrun territory. Dragon Ball Z has a new Budokai Tenkaichi game that is coming out. I had to have my friend Michael, who I don't like to have on every goddamn podcast, explain to me. He's Dragon Ball guy. He's the guy that I know that's big into it. Explain to me why people are so hyped for this game. And now I will tell you, Bryce, because so traditionally speaking, I feel like a lot of people, this franchise is just like an arena fighter. And the thing is that it's been a long time since there was a previous one of these games, and everything that's come out since then. So you had Dragon Ball FighterZ, which was a 2D, Street Fighter style game. You had Xenoverse, where it was an arena fighter, but you created your own character, so you couldn't play as your favorite Saiyan, right? You couldn't play as fucking Piccolo or whatever. You had to just play as this scrub that you created that was like a mute protagonist. And then there was the Kakarot, which was an RPG as opposed to like an action game, or half action. But so this is a game where you can pick your favorite guy from Dragon Ball. You can set up your favorite fight. You can be like, what if Goku fought 16 Vegetas at the same time, and he used his Super Saiyan 12 powers to turn into a monkey or whatever, right? And there just hasn't been one of these for a long time. So the idea that there's a new one coming out has people super, super, super duper excited because Dragon Ball fans are huge fans, and you cannot dissuade them no matter how many times you call Goku a stupid piece of garbage. I know. Trust me.
I will say, I'm looking at the Wikipedia page for the Dragon Ball Z Budokai Tenkaichi franchise, and boy, they put everybody in these games.
Oh yeah,
like everybody and all of their versions, right? Super Saiyan 1, 2, 3, 4. You get the Goten and the Gotenks, and then Grandpa Gohan. So just making sure you get all of them boys set up, and Vegeta, and then Vegeta, and then Vegeta, and then Vegeto, and then it's there's someone named Baby on here, and there's like a 50% chance it's actually a baby.
Oh, almost certainly. I mean, almost 100%, almost certainly. But yeah, also, I mean, since I looked it up, it's worth saying Budokai Tenkaichi 3 came out in 2007. It has been 16 years. It has been a whole fucking surly teenager worth of time since the last one of these. So I, for one, thought that they just cranked this shit out every year, and I was just not paying attention, like Naruto games or something. But apparently, whatever this franchise is, they haven't. That's been quite a while. So,
I wonder if there's a 3D conversion thing going on within the Dragon Ball franchise as more anime move into 3D and 3D models, where now that more of these movies and games I don't know, this is wild speculation, but maybe there are so many Dragon Ball Z games now that they finally have models of all of these characters that are like canon models that they can say, okay, Budokai Tenkaichi is back. Here's 500 characters because it's everyone and they all do basically the same thing. But here they all are. I wonder.
Yeah, it's possible. So this is 3DS. God, they got them all split into like, yeah. So yeah. Anyway, that got announced. Big deal for everything. Oh yeah, I looked back through and it was like, what? There's Fighters. There's Xenoverse 2, Battle of Z. There's the Budokai HD collection. Here's Dragon Ball Z for Connect.
Ooh.
So yeah, okay, good for you, anime fans. Glad that you got your thing. I wouldn't take it away from you. Please keep it the hell away from me. I'm sure I'm gonna play that game when it comes out on the show with my friend Michael. Speaking of games that I will never play or don't have any interest in, Counter-Strike 2 may be here very, very, very soon. Maybe. There's kind of two vectors here. One is this guy, Richard Lewis, who is a journalist who tends to have information, basically talks about how like he has internal information from leakers saying that there's probably going to be a beta for Counter-Strike CSGO 2 very, very soon. Apparently, though, this is mostly just Counter-Strike Go in the Source 2 engine. The other idea here is that the latest NVIDIA drivers, when they looked at the compatibility list, had Counter-Strike 2 CS2.exe and Counter-Strike 2 CSGO2.exe in their files for compatible games, which is something that was picked up by a Twitter user called Gabe Follower 2 with the Steam eyeball thing. Yeah, Counter-Strike Go is a huge, I mean, it's huge. Like, I don't play it, but like a lot of fucking people play it. So,
and Valve have been keeping these online games running for so long. Even CS:GO now is been around over a decade.
I think it's longer than that.
and it's still big. So the question to making a sequel to it is why? Why for what? People are playing it on PC right now. That's where people are doing it because they can do their knife boxes and whatnot. And Valve is a very if it's not broke, don't fix it company. So unless this is, I could see it being a move over to Source 2, but at that point, you might as well do the Overwatch 2 sort of thing. In fact, it would make more sense for them to do the Overwatch 2 thing than Overwatch 2 did. To say, hey, you know what? We're moving CSGO to CSGO 2. It's on Source 2. Everybody, let's all just move over now. You know us. You know that this is going to play exactly like CSGO. Now it's got ray tracing or some shit.
Right. I think that the idea here is one that is a lot more gradual than what you normally see, where they're going to put out a CSGO 2 on Source 2 that is still compatible with CSGO, right? You could play with people who have the original, and then slowly over time, most of the newer features will go into CSGO 2 until enough people move over so that it's not so that you can gradually move the audience instead of like the big shock of just like, okay, this is dead, everybody go download CSGO 2. Like, that's what we're going to play from now on. That's kind of what I think they're going to be doing, if this is even real at all, because there's no reason why you couldn't have both of these running simultaneously. So
and there are always rumors about Valve sequels. I've always been seeing rumors about PowerPoint presentations about Source 2 and Left 4 Dead 3 and any number of game sequels that you want and we don't have yet. Those, not to say that these are bunkum rumors. I'm just saying that we have rumors all the time with Valve.
True. Very true. Let's see. In other Steam news, the devs for Escape from Tarkov did something kind of interesting last week where they purged a whole shitload of cheaters from their servers and then took the second step of publishing giant spreadsheets through their Twitter account with the actual screen names of all of the cheaters that they took out of the game.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty fun. I mean, I don't have a lot of sympathy for online cheaters. However, the one thing that was interesting was they also put out, I think it was like a tweet or something where they said like the week after they did that, like over the weekend, they had like a 300% uptick in sales of of Escape from Tarkov, which was just everybody who got banned buying a new copy with their brand new Steam account that had not yet been VAC banned. So, but I don't know.
I'm surprised they don't. They should, if they have a thing where you can just buy back into the game after you get banned. They might as well just let you do that in game. They might as well just let you pay your ticket in game and keep it on your real account.
Yeah, that's true.
Put a little asterisk next to your name so people know you're a cheater, and then just let them go.
That's true. But yeah, if any of you need names for like bad guys in your MMO novel that you're writing, you can bring in Nep or Captain F or Walking Dono or Elvis
Shark Lord
Swidely. Yep.
Sweet F. Oh, you got to watch out for Sweet F.
Yep. Mr. T Walnut 7.
Hey, you better watch out. That's Lao Mo over there. I think that's Lao Mo over there.
Oh, I gotta set Lao Mo. Okay, we stop. We gotta stop.
Mo.
I know that guy. He owes me $5.
You gotta watch out for him.
Let's see. In further Steam news, we also had another. This is an update to a story that we had before. There is a Soviet city builder called Workers and Resources Soviet Republic. What is the description that the person here wrote? Which is like. A city builder that has a particular focus on how urban planning worked alongside the communist economies of Eastern Europe during the Cold War. This was an interesting thing. We talked about it a few weeks back where they were creating a new mode kind of based on some community feedback, and one of the people in their community decided that he had invented the mode, and he also happened to be a lawyer and went on a DMCA spree that was so hardcore that it basically got the game taken down off of Steam. Yeah, but
my goodness,
game is back up on Steam. They basically, had this player that went rogue and basically used all the DMCA stuff that they could to get the game taken down, but it's back up now. So I think the situation hasn't been completely resolved, but you can go back and buy your Eastern European city building simulator game if you want. I don't know why you would, but
yeah.
Yep.
Huh. Okay. That's a weird little drama.
Yep. Tell you what, though, I got better drama for you, though, Bryce. A better drama for you.
Bring it.
Okay. Bring it. So there's a game called Dark and Darker that is being made by a Korean studio. Previously, there had been an allegation that this Korean studio that was started by these two guys, they were working for Nexon, making a project called P3 that was a prototype. That prototype they decided not to follow through with that, and then these two guys quit the company and created a new company to make this game called Dark and Darker. Nexon believes that they stole assets / worked on the game while they were at Nexon, and has previously filed a lawsuit against them, and they're doing all kinds of stuff. Well, this week, according to Yonhap News, South Korean police showed up, kicked them all out of their building, seized a bunch of materials, because apparently South Korea don't fuck around when it comes to companies saying they stole a bunch of stuff. Now, there's no admission of guilt here. Apparently this is just a situation where the police have taken a lot of computer equipment and stuff from their office to check and see if they can find evidence that they are using stolen materials from Nexon. I don't know how the Korean legal system works, in spite of watching Extraordinary Attorney Woo one time, but it's interesting to me that a large company saying that some nefarious shit went down resulted in the police coming, which is not something I feel like you would ever really see in America. Like this get settled in court, not through law enforcement. So,
yeah, and I don't know. You see contracts like that where, where say a company that you work for has a certain amount of control over the extracurricular creative works that you do or projects that you work on. Usually that's more of a preventative thing. It's meant to stop people from. You're usually like in some cases like you check in and say like, hey, can I do this? And they know yes or no. And if it's former folks, well, then you get into weird data forensic stuff. But in general, like okay, like you've got this screenshot here, like, yeah, you hold a torch and you're in a dark castle. Like, okay, I guess the maps kind of look similar. The saddest part looks kind of look. Like, look, I don't. Be cool, man. Be cool. No, I'm on their worker side. Fucking be cool. Let them make their game. Fuck you, Maxon.
I mean, also Nexon is like a huge company. Like,
yeah. Oh, there's a Maple store. Oh, fuck off, Nexon. You don't need it.
Yeah.
You don't need it.
Yep. So yeah, I'm more on the side of like maybe this is just how it works in Korea. Maybe this is how you do this sort of thing in Korea and are just dealing with a different justice system than we're used to. I guess the thing is that it's entirely possible that maybe Korea has like really reasonable police that will like come and get your stuff and treat it with respect and then check it out over the weekend and then give it back to you on Monday, as opposed to like kicking in your front door, flashbanging everyone, zip tying them, putting them in hoods, and then taking all your shit that you have to like spend 2 years in court trying to get your fucking laptop back that has the source code on it. Or, that's how we do it here in America, god damn it. So
do we live in a bad country, Jeff? Do we live in a bad country?
This is not appropriate for the RageSelect podcast. These are no answers for the RageSelect podcast to those questions. You have to tune into my secret podcast that nobody knows about called After I Stop Recording in My Living Room. Let's see here. FIFA loot boxes violate Austrian gambling laws, says local Austrian court. Apparently this is a very small or what? Okay, this is really interesting. A bunch of people in Austria sued Sony over FIFA loot boxes. And I was interested, God, we don't have any time, but I'm really interested to find out your take on this, because here's the methodology. Because the cards from the loot boxes could be sold on a secondary market for money, for real world money, this court says that then that constitutes gambling, because because the random thing that you get can then be sold for real money, again, on the secondary market, not on, not inside of the game or anything, but like through a third-party website, you can transfer those cards to other people. That then like Sony is on the hook because they're the people that you buy the loot box through. You give the Sony PlayStation Store your money to buy the FIFA Ultimate Team loot box. What do you think about that?
Well, I was reading this and I was a little confused about it, because I don't know how you do the thing that these cards are accused of doing. I don't think you can. Can you I don't know that you can transfer these cards between people. Like, unless they're saying like, oh, there is a ecosystem out there that people hack into accounts and buy cards on accounts and then sell those accounts. But I don't entirely understand this idea where people are buying these cards or these packs of cards and then reselling them. Now I'm just a simple Southern podcaster here. I've not done a lot of research into this, but I'm looking on eBay as well, and I'm seeing actual FIFA cards, and I know that people there is some amount of undercover money moving around with FIFA points and gift cards and stuff, but that's certainly that's definitely not sanctioned, not allowed to be done, and then I don't know how that's happening that makes that different than anything else, right? How does the FIFA Ultimate Team stuff on an account differ than like a Madden Ultimate Team or an NHL online career game? Like they're unless they're saying that this is going to apply to all those things because your account could be sold or transferred, but I don't think they have an official thing that says this card can go to somebody else.
I think
not within the way it's designed. I don't think. Is it?
Think you can. I don't know. It's hard to say. Like, I'm on this footbin.com website that seems like it. Well, I don't know if this is just stats. I don't know. Let's see. Hold on. Let's just type it into Google. Can you sell FUT cards online?
FIFA accounts. You can sell. I found a website that will buy a FIFA account. I don't even know what that is. FIFA 22 accounts.
Okay.
You can buy these accounts, I guess.
Okay.
But that's not even the way that the game is designed. I guess maybe that's why they're going after. But they're going after the transactions here. This is the other thing is I didn't know why they're going after the money for the transactions. Are they saying they didn't want those transactions? Because that's a different whole different thing. You can't just say it's gambling, so you can't get your fucking thing for free. But what are I see the account stuff. I know about that, but I don't understand how this is anything to do with the way that this game is designed necessarily.
Hard to say. I don't. It seems
and
like
also this ruling was in a different country in a different language.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. It's interesting. I think that there's, I mean, as much as I'm not a big fan of loot boxes, I think it's kind of interesting to say a stretch of like, if those cards are being sold on a secondary market, then it seems like you would want to go after the secondary market as opposed to the primary, seller of the cards. Like it just,
or the maker of the cards,
right?
Not, again, not this is after Sony, not EA or the FIFA team.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't know. It's very strange. It's very strange. Let's see. Oh boy, we're out of time. Let's see. Let's quick. Yuji Naka, who was charged with insider trading, the creator of Sonic and whatnot, basically pled guilty. He was an employee at Square Enix working on Balan Wonderland and got insider information that Dragon Quest Tact and Final Fantasy VII The First Soldier were being developed by A-Team. He bought a bunch of stock in that mobile company. When the games came out, the stock went up. That is insider trading. They didn't try to fight it. He just went in and said, yep, we don't have any sentencing information. Square Enix's CEO is out. Yosuke Matsuda is gone. A lot of people may think, oh, cool. Finally, the guy who's been wanting to do NFTs for years and all this bullshit, he is out, and we don't have to worry about that anymore. However, his replacement is a younger guy that has some connection to some crypto stuff in the past. So it's possible that he's being ousted for Takashi Kiryu. And he has been at Square for a couple of years, and prior to that was general manager at an organization that explored a lot of different things, including the metaverse and crypto, but like, who knows? I think that it's possible we might be trading in the bad guy for a worse guy, but Yosuke Matsuda has been absolutely fucking terrible for Square Enix. They've gone super, super goddamn downhill over the last 5 years. They do not know what the fuck they are doing, and they keep selling off like incredibly profitable stuff in order to buy garbage and make bullshit. So, yeah, good.
I mean, the NFT crypto stuff, that's, even if they were going to do it, there's not a lot of money in that. But yeah, those selling those studios off, those successful studios that were completely mismanaged,
yep,
from Square's side, he should have been fired from that long ago. That was a bad sell.
100%. And last, before we get to some of we do have a bunch of trailers. I'm sorry, we have a bunch of trailers, but that we're gonna go through them real quick. So we had the announcement.
Trailers, baby.
We had the announcement that Angry Birds, you can buy the version of Angry Birds, right?
Yes.
And they took you can just buy it version of Angry Birds off of the App Store. Now, Rovio said that the reason that they did that was because no matter what they did on the App Store, you would always get that version when you searched for Angry Birds. And that what would happen was that people would search for Angry Birds, and because they are filthy cell phone users who wanted to do a game on their cell phone, they would see the first result would be Angry Birds, it's $1. And they'd be like, oh, I don't want to pay for Angry Birds. And then they would just not download it. And they said they tried changing it around. They tried changing the name to AB. And then it kept coming up when you search for Angry Birds. That is why, strangely, it's been changed to Red's First Flight. Yeah. And that currently they're removing it to try to get it out of the search algorithm, and that if they can get it out of the search algorithm, they will bring it back in. There was a lot of postulation that this was done for sheer greed. I can't say whether it was or not, but this is the kind of...
No, they could... No, Jeff, I'm sorry. I don't know if you heard this. They confirmed, absolutely. They decided they were going to do two kind of greedy business things, and have now confirmed they're going to do whichever one is the most successful. They're either going to remove it or they're going to rename it. This is like the most businessy thing it could have been.
Yeah. Well, I know they've already said they were going to remove it. I think that the big thing here was that they said that if they can get it to work, I bet they couldn't
have removed it on Apple without removing it from people's devices or letting them download it again.
Yeah,
and then you would have gotten into the fucking refund game.
Right. So I don't know. We'll see what happens. Anyway, quick trailers. The One Punch Man stuff is out in Overwatch. Overwatch has a bunch of One Punch Man stuff. I kind of love it, but I only like this trailer because I like the One Punch Man song, and I like the way that they recreated a bunch of One Punch Man stuff in Overwatch. I fucking hate the idea that Moomin Rider is a Soldier 76 skin, because Moomin Rider does not have a fucking machine gun. But they also put in a Geno skin for Genji and a terrible tornado skin for that new lady whose name I keep forgetting, as well as a bunch of emotes and stuff. And it's kind of fun to see something. It's kind of fun to see some of this licensed stuff come to Overwatch, as opposed to just like, oh, he's a safari guy. Ooh, it's a Santa. Look at that. It's a chimney sweep, and it's like, okay. But yeah.
And I think they look good. When I loaded this trailer, I was like, oh, like they're gonna just have like a bunch of. It's just gonna be like the One Punch Man characters in it or something. But these are like recolors, nice. They're if you didn't know they were One Punch Man, they would just look like different colored skins for these characters. To my knowledge, that's what they are, because I didn't know what the characters looked like before or after this anyway.
Right. Let's see. Okay, we finally got back to that thing I mentioned before.
Oh yes, that's right. Yeah.
Diablo 4, the beta had a live action trailer. This is a church full of murals that are Diablo 4 scenes of all the demon stuff. This is kind of cool. I read the story for this. This is a deconsecrated church in France. So this is not an actual functional church that they fucked up for their thing. And then two, all of these paintings are basically like separate pieces that are put over the existing art that's in there and will be taken down. They're non-destructive. They are not like fucking anything up. I'm
sure they love that this is the second bullet point of every news article about this.
Yeah.
Is like, look at the Diablo 4 thing. Don't worry, we didn't fuck up anything. Trust me, this is the one thing we here at Blizzard have not fucked up in the last well, don't look at the clock.
I mean, they obviously hired somebody to do this who probably had like
Right.
a better, who was a little bit more tactful than their normal thing. But I don't know. I mean, like if you're going to spend a bunch of, I always hate it when companies spend money on the stupid live action tie-in thing. This is kind of fun. Like they're going to leave this up for a little while. People can go see it. It's better than when they spent all that time and money making like live action actors. What was that Atomic Heart thing where they hired Jensen Ackles to come in and punch a bunch of mannequins in a live action Atomic Heart trailer that was throwing shade at fucking Hogwarts Legacy or something? It was very weird. It was a very strange thing. Sherlock Holmes The Awakened got a release date. I actually didn't realize until I read the article for this that this is actually a remake of one of Frogware's first games, the Sherlock Holmes versus Cthulhu in Louisiana game.
Okay.
It's been updated to a lot of their modern systems, and the Frogware's like investigation systems I think are pretty good. Like they do a pretty good job with the kind of like you're looking for clues, then you kind of have this mind palace where you can put stuff together and extrapolate stuff. Like it's kind of a good way to do an investigation game. And they got a pretty good graphics engine and everything too. So
yeah, it looks nice. I normally don't think of these like murder mystery games as looking particularly nice, but I guess partly being a remaster, that's what you would focus on.
Yep. And it's coming out on April 11th. So there you go. Paranorma Site, The Seven Mysteries of Hanjo, is for Bryce. I got this for Bryce. I
hated this trailer.
Oh, really? Okay. It didn't really have very much in it, but as far as I could tell, this game has gotten like really high marks as a good like mystery / paranormal visual novel thing that came out this week on Steam and some of the consoles. So, but I don't know. Maybe I'll take a look at it at some point. I'm not.
This didn't grab me. I guess there's an interesting aesthetic to it. But I think it was too much of a teaser, not enough of a trailer.
I could see that. Let's see. We got a story trailer for Bayonetta Origins, Cereza and the Lost Demon, which is coming out pretty soon. This was actually a lot more. This was a grabby trailer. It had a lot of story. It kind of showed a lot of the game. I'm still not 100% sure how I feel about this franchise going to this like weird children's storybook thing, considering it's been this sex pot hair witch stripper lady up until now. But I personally think that the thing that's interesting about this is that from this trailer you can see that it explains Cheshire, it explains the demon, and that was like Viola's familiar in Bayonetta 3. Completely unexplained, just shows up, is her thing, no backstory. I have a feeling that we might actually even see more Bayonetta 3, more content that explains what happens in Bayonetta 3 as spin-off titles, because I can also see how this could have been a DLC that then got ramped up into a full version or beefed up just enough to be able to justify like a $20 price tag. I don't even know how much it is, but
what's striking to me, like this doesn't obviously aesthetically it doesn't look like a Bayonetta game, but it doesn't look like it plays like a Bayonetta game at all either. I think of a character action sort of game where this has a kind of pulled back almost action RPG sort of thing. I don't know that this I was just surprised because it says Bayonetta and it doesn't look like the Bayonetta games, and I hadn't seen this before.
The thing is that Bayonetta 3 did some interesting stuff. Like the Bayonetta 3 had like a 3 or 4 levels where you played as Jean that were basically like elevator action stealth 2D side-scrolling levels. So they were like doing, and Bayonetta has had like, the original Bayonetta had a level that was like Space Harrier, and one that was kind of like an outrun level. It was kind of like a racing and then a shmuppy kind of thing. So they've done a lot of playing around over the years with different formats. Nothing I think as severe as this, but when you played in Bayonetta 3 as the Viola character that had this giant demon, this Cheshire Cat demon, you would kind of, hold down a button to summon it, and then it would kind of auto attack while you also attacked other things. And I think that the gameplay that I see here, because Bayonetta isn't really doing a lot of direct action, is kind of based on that. I don't know. I'm really at a loss with this one. It seems like it could kind of go either way. It's very different, and I don't know how to get a read on it. So,
yeah.
No. Let's see. However, I am very, very excited for the Lamplighters League. This was announced this week as the latest game from Harebrained Schemes, who did the Shadowrun, 3 Shadowrun Returns games, as well as that BattleTech game that came out. And this is very much a tactical, it's stealth plus tactics, adventurers fighting Nazis looking for like eldritch artifacts.
Ancient treasure.
Yeah. They showed they had a second video that I watched because they put out this kind of sizzle trailer. They had a second video that I watched where they showed it, and they showed how like there's going to be like a stealth section where you're doing real-time top-down stuff that then you can take out certain amounts of guys. Like you can strategize to take out some guys in stealth one hit before the battle starts in order to like kind of mold the encounter more to how you want it to be.
Interesting.
Yeah. And then they've got this big cast of 1930s rogue characters. I think they show it here towards the end with all of them kind of standing around and I like these guys. Yeah, here we go. With all these different characters with different powers, different specialties, and yeah, it looks good.
This looks cool.
Yeah,
yeah. This is kind of neat. I wonder. I would want to take a look more at that gameplay stuff because that. Yeah, I think that I don't know. Midnight Suns has got me itching for some tactics stuff, and this looks nice.
Mm-hmm. It's coming 2023, and it's also coming to Game Pass. So, bada bing, bada boom. Let's see. We got a small gameplay trailer for Wayfinder. I know that nobody cares about Wayfinder, but I'm going to keep talking about it because it's the latest Airship Syndicate game, and those are the guys what made the Darksiders, the top-down Darksiders game, and like the League of Legends Ruined King RPG, and they made that Battle Chasers game, and I think that they've got a lot of talent, and I think that there's no reason it's kind of like what I say with a lot of games where there's no reason why a game like this, an online MMO third-person kind of action game where you're grinding and you're doing quests and you're doing powering up and you're getting different skills. There's no reason why this can't be fun. I think Airship Syndicate has a lot of talent, and I like the way that their art style looks, and I like how snappy their games are with the animation. So I'm really excited for this, even though it might turn out to be a little bit of a fart. But I really do want to give it a try when it comes out.
It looks nice, and it doesn't look... It looks like Fortnite and Warcraft, but it looks more like Warcraft.
Yes.
I mean, the thing is, like, this would be competing against something like a Final Fantasy 14, looking at what type of game this is, right? This is so, at least to me, seems like such a traditional online RPG that you have to compete against all of the online RPGs that already have their hooks in this. This is what we were talking about earlier, a little bit late coming to this trend, I feel like. I feel like we've already found new paradigms for these grindy games. Granted, there's not exactly a new WoW, but I know a lot of people are on Final Fantasy 14, and that's also fantasy-themed, fantasy aesthetic.
Yeah.
Less shooting. This does look like it has more shooting and guns, so maybe that's something. But there's a lot of competition here, even if this looks really kind of slick.
Yeah, it's kind of it's like the Paladins to Final Fantasy 16's Overwatch, right? Where it's like, oh, this is probably fine, but like, is it going to pull people away from the more high profile stuff? Let's see. Mage Seeker is a game that was announced about a month ago. It's like made by the people who made Moonlighter. This is a League of Legends game where it's kind of a top-down kind of action RPG, kind of like Moonlighter or what was that one that was like the family? What am I talking about? Do you know what I'm talking about? It was like the
Family.
Pixel family that all lived in the house. Children of Morta. There it is.
Morta.
Which this looks like it could be fine. I don't know. Got a release date.
Yeah.
And that was April 18th. Wargroove 2 got announced. Speaking of that Harebrained Schemes game, this isn't being made by the people that made the original Groove. It's being made by the company that made a game called Pathfinder. That's like a tactics roguelike. It's a very similar to that other game that we were looking at, but they're taking a much less medieval fantasy and more of this kind of like jungle pirate undead skeleton kind of thing. Kind of
Nice.
yeah.
Yeah, Wargroove 1 was cool. That came out at a time when we were still in this drought from not having like an Advanced War, and even now where we're got Advanced War maybe coming back. Like Wargroove is definitely filling that gap, and they it looks really nice. Like it's really polished and really well designed for a tactical RPG like this.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's see. We got the release date also and a trailer for the Front Mission 2 remake. Front Mission 1 actually came out last year. I bought it. I don't think I've ever actually put it on RageSelect, but because better stuff keeps coming out. And like I think that Front Mission 2 has a better look to it. Like the first one is a little bit more primary color scheme, whereas everything here is real dark and gray and moody and mechs, and I'm like, yeah, give me the moody mechs. But yeah, that's coming out in June. Let's see, what is it? Yeah, June 12th. So right around the corner.
Is that only on Switch?
Yes.
I guess I don't know. Okay, interesting.
Both the first one and the second one are Switch exclusives at the moment. So. Paradox showed off City Skylines 2. This was a CG trailer.
They didn't.
Well, yeah. True. I kept thinking while I was watching it, I'm like, it doesn't actually look like this, does it? Like, I don't know. We are kind of in a time where you could use Unreal Engine 5 and zoom from the street to like SimCity, but
to the fucking raindrop.
But to the raindrops is a little much. Yes. But yes, there's going to be a new City Skylines game. It's funny to think that how much the SimCity has fallen down, right?
And how much like City Skylines has become a huge thing off of the back of being a SimCity being a knockoff of that 2013 SimCity.
Yeah.
Directly, they said it as much. And that game has been holding its own for so long. I mean, they don't exactly need to show a lot in this announcement because holy fuck, a new City Skyline now. Like it is now this big fucking player in this genre. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's coming out sometime this year. I don't know. Hopefully we'll see more soon. The Playdate had a little showcase. Bryce, I don't know if you're still kind of meh about the Playdate.
I'm meh on the Playdate? No, I think it's neat.
Oh, okay. I thought the last time I talked to you about it that you were kind of like, meh, it seems like a lot for kind of a gimmicky nonsense. But I could be wrong.
I mean, both things could be true. It does look neat, but it also is
yeah. The two big things to talk about here are they're putting out some new games, and I'm not going to go over those because there was like 15 minutes worth of games, but they're putting. The first thing is that they added a store app to the device, which apparently it used to be that you would have to like literally sideload it by downloading it on the PC and then like putting it on there. So now you can buy stuff directly through your account on the device. And then they showed off a bunch of games.
I like crank to buy. I like crank to buy to confirm you really want to buy it. Crank it. Really keep cranking the motherfucker.
It's funny, they show it, and it seems like you have to crank it a lot. It's like you are not accidentally going to buy it. So yeah, they showed off a bunch of games, and then the last thing that they talked about was, well, no, there's a couple other things. They're still making the weird like dock, the weird stereo dock that turns it into a little clock radio, and it's a little pen slot and stuff. They had such problems apparently with like just dealing with supply chain issues to get the actual unit out that they put that on hold, but that they're still working on it, and it's hopefully going to be coming out sometime very soon. And then the other thing they talked about was that they're raising the price of the play date. It was $179, and they're raising it to $199, and that's just because as time has gone on, I kind of have sympathy here. They said they've eaten as much of the cost as they kind of can, and that they don't want to do this, but they kind of have to. And part of them making good on that is the announcement that price increase is happening in early April. So you have all of March to still buy one at $179. If you've been on the fence and you didn't want to do it, you can get one. Also, I mean, $20 that's not like a huge price jump, right? Like the Oculus stuff jumped way higher than that when it went up. So,
yeah, it's like it's a cool thing. I can tell it's well made. Like what's the best version of a Game Boy? It's got high def, and it's got a couple. It doesn't really have colors, but it's got Wi-Fi, and it could recharge itself.
Yep.
It's still $200.
It's a bit much.
It's
a bit much for an impulse buy.
It's cool that they throw a lot of games at you. It's cool that there's a bunch of games on there and that you can sideload stuff really easy too.
Yeah. Yep. Let's see. And last on the trailer parade, this is a really strange game. I don't know if this is coming to the United States. So in Japan, there is a game called No Paper, ! And so imagine with me here, listeners of the podcast, you take a roll of toilet paper, you shove a Joy-Con in the middle of the roll of toilet paper, you put that roll of toilet paper on like a big piece of cardboard that you hold with your two hands, and then you tilt it back and forth to roll the toilet paper left and right, and then you use that to play this weird fucking game where you're rolling a roll of toilet paper through a bunch of obstacles and saw blades and keys and lasers and what?
Jeff, I would buy this game for $5. This is a really novel little demo. It's not any different than like what's that big rod game you see at the arcade sometimes where you push up each side of this line up to move the coin or the ball. Like you see stuff like that. Like that's a cool, fun little thing to do. Yep.
I mean, I don't know, man. I've got the thing is that I have a Japanese Switch account. The problem is just that I have to buy cards for it. So, but it's not, I mean, the Switch isn't region locked, so there's no reason why we couldn't get this and play it. I'm not making any promises, though. Come on.
I'll bring the toilet paper.
This is what we can do instead. I have a lot of toilet paper now. All of the rumors, that's slander that I am out of toilet paper, that there is a toilet paper in Jeff's house. Slander.
I was just being a good guest.
Metroid Fusion is now on the Game Boy Advance store on the Nintendo Switch, which is great. Somebody tweeted at me and asked me when we were going to get a dojo for that, and I responded by pointing them to part 1 of the 10-part full playthrough of Metroid Fusion that we did on my Raspberry Pi not that long ago. So that Metal Hill Singer is getting some DLC this month with 2 original songs. Cool. This is kind of cool too. Larian confirmed that if you bought Baldur's Gate 3 in early access on the PC, when it goes into full 1.0 release, you will be upgraded to the digital deluxe version and get a bunch of DLC with different outfits and different outfits from Divinity Original Sin 2 and a bunch of other kind of cool stuff. Yeah.
Good.
So, yeah.
Good.
Let's see. The Witcher, some ex-Witcher people are making an interesting. See, okay, this is a really interesting game called the Thaumaturge, and it's like a kind of it was kind of a like a top-down isometric kind of Eastern European demon, like you summon demons and then you're using them to like solve kind of mysterious puzzles, but then there's also like some combat, some kind of turn-based combat in it, and it, like some kind of card stuff. The interesting thing here,
Jeff, this is the
what's that?
Okay, no, keep going.
Sorry, I was gonna say this was headed by the senior quest design on Witcher 2 and 3. It's being worked on by the same company that is making the Witcher 1 remake, and that the company that's making it, Fool's Theory, previously assisted Larian as a support studio for Divinity Original Sin 2 and Baldur's Gate 3. So it seems like they've got a pretty good like reputation. I'm hoping that this turns out to be, this could kind of go either way. You can't really tell from the trailer, right? So
Yeah, I don't know. That trailer is, I don't know, kind of meek.
yeah. Yes.
I don't know.
Yes. I don't know. Let's see. We're skipping everything, and going to the end. Like apparently the new thing, right? Like you mentioned it before, the new AI hotness is AI voices. And one of the voices that we got this week is from a channel called the Synthetic Soundsmith that has done a number of different Master Chief talking to you about things. And this came up for me as Master Chief teaches you how to do your taxes. Yep. Which is actually, I listened to it. It's pretty good. Master Chief is
your W2.
Well, it's actually really good because he's talking about how like you need to get all of your all of your you need to get all your forms together. You need to get the right things. But then he keeps talking about how like, and if you don't do your if you don't file your taxes, the IRS will come after you like the flood did to me that one time, and you don't want that sort of thing in your life, and blah 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 blah. So it's funny how I feel like a lot of people are mad about visual AI aspect stuff, and some people are mad about text AI stuff, but I haven't seen anybody that's mad yet about like, have you seen like those videos where it's like Donald Trump and Obama playing Overwatch with the AI and stuff? And I kind of love it. Like, it's kind of stupid and I love it. So
it's funny. You know what? Like turn the presidents into Vocaloids.
Yep.
I mean, that's what we've got. It's legal to do that with their recordings. It is presumably completely legal because that ends up being public domain.
Is this is an AI generated background, right? On this Master Chief teaches you to do your taxes. This has got to be AI generated, right? Because it's not quite the Master Chief helmet, and like these fingers down here are kind of fucked up. Oh, he's got 6 fingers.
Maybe.
Yep, AI confirmed. He's got 6 fingers.
Oh.
Okay. Count the fingers and you'll know.
Yeah, that was what I was say. It's the Avatar way of water, way of telling.
Yep.
By the number of fingers.
Speaking of voices, some crazy motherfuckers are fully okay. There's these 2 mods for Fallout 2 that are interesting. One of them is Goat Boy's Talking Heads add-on, which puts a bunch of talking heads in Fallout 2 that are not there previously. So normally when you talk to a non-special character, you don't get like this full like picture of their head with the little talking. So this mod added a bunch of that stuff, but then there's a second mod out there called Black Electric's Talking Heads That Actually Talk, THAT mod, where they've just been going around getting people to do voice lines for Fallout 2 characters, trying to just gradually add in full voice to like 20-year-old video game.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
Yeah. I originally thought that this was AI, but
oh my god!
Yeah, you can look at this is a like a video of it. And some of the people that are recording this,
that's like the way it is. Like
Yeah.
that's the way it is in the game. It's got the talking heads, and there's only a few of them. Oh my gosh, this is really cool.
and like some of the people have kind of some sketchy mics, so not everything sounds the same, right? You could tell with the practice here that some of them have slightly different quality. But you know what? If you want to get your RPG, your WRPG with like a million lines of dialogue on, great. So. And last but not least, speaking of things I don't know why anybody would do, there is a Golden Girls Persona game, or Persona style game being made by some crazy motherfuckers called the Golden Girls Take Manhattan DX. Yes.
You are so fortunate. You did not know this when you booked me. I've been following this game since it originally was a joke, like 7 years ago now.
Oh wow.
Like,
okay.
I've been following this because one of the guy who came up with this has done some other internet stuff before. But I've seen it from where it is today with like the cutesy cartoons to the old demos where it was the actual cutouts of the actual photos of the Golden Girls.
Oh,
there was just like straight up Persona music in there, stolen, and it became like, oh man, I really want to make this game. The guy, I really want to make this game, so I guess I have to like not break all the copyright laws. So like now they're illustrated versions of the Golden Girls and new assets instead of just like Shutterstock photos of clowns. But this is cool, and they're putting it out for free, so like presumably C&Ds are not going to be a big deal. Like I'm so glad that he said he was going to put this out this year because it's a good idea and it looks fun. It's stupid. I want an ironic Persona so
it's kind of just a Persona mod. It's like a total conversion, like an old total conversion mod for Persona that turns it into a Golden Girls game.
It's a RPG that mimics the structure of Persona for sure. I don't know if it's because I think it's originally created. I don't think it's like built on top of a mod.
Right.
It's not a mod, but
okay.
But it looks very Persona-y.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Interesting.
It's so cool. It's so fun. I'm so excited that it's like announced. It's very cool.
Cool. Well, go check that out at jeoy.dev. Even though the video here on this tweet thread, just follow the Golden Girls Take Manhattan DX on Twitter is probably a better way to do it. These character sheets. Wowzers. Are these the Golden Girls' personas?
Yes.
Oh, my goodness. Okay. All right.
They have personas. They have items.
Holy shit. Okay. Yeah. All right. Well, there you go. Yeah, go check it out. And that's it. That's our show for this week. It only went mostly long, but that's okay.
Wow. Yeah.
Bryce, why don't you tell...
It was a good one.
Yeah. Why don't you tell the people where they can find you on the internet?
Check out my marbles racing thing. I do it on Friday nights at the moment. Marbles.win is the website. It's got the schedule and all the information about what it is. But it's a fun live stream where we do these marble races, and everyone in the chat gets to play along just by being in the chat, and you don't have to do anything else. So check it out. Marbles.win and twitch.tv/nightattack is where that is at.
Cool. And you already know where RageSelect is because you're here right now. So
At the end of the podcast.
Yes, at the end of the podcast. So, yep, that's it. Go. Leave me now. I require go forth and into the world.
Support you.
Well, they can go to patreon.com. They go to patreon.com/RageSelect. I ain't going to Patreon. You know where you go. It's fine. Just get out of here. Go get a double down. Apparently, they're only there for a limited time.
So big. It's gigantic, Jeff.
I don't want it.